I got into this line of work, I would say professionally, about 3 years ago. But I've been shooting since I was about 9 years old. I'd always ask to borrow my dad's camera, and I would go out and take photos of just whatever's going around. I was really interested in people. I loved it. Like, it was just all I wanted to do. Whenever your creative space is also your comfort space or like your living space, like I think that does lead to a couple issues. For one is distractions. There's a lot of distractions in this room. I try to keep it as minimal as possible. But like, I have a TV, my Lego up there.
I like having a busy space that's ordered, like an ordered chaos of some kind, where there's so many things around, not necessarily getting in your way, but just that you're constantly surrounded by inspiration. I think the spaces that I work best in are ones that are connected to the natural world. I think I'm lucky to live in a place like Dunleary where I'm only a walk away from the sea. It's something that I've appreciated more as I've grown up.
Yeah, I'm quite inspired by nature, so I like travelling through nature, if you like, and I like working in it. This is my base and my hub and my kind of magpie's nest, and then outside is all the colour and inspiration. I suppose mosaic was sort of interesting. I started hand painting tiles and breaking things down. I wanted to do things for architecture, but I wanted to work big, and in order to work big I realised I had to break things down to small and then create big from that. So it was a real kind of just a play with contradictions, I guess.
How did I get into this? I sort of evolved into it, I suppose, or I didn't consciously go after it. Always been doodling, or man, I found a great way of just solving stuff without thinking or knowing what I was doing. Yeah, that need or that obsession to actually do something constantly. Art sort of took over that thing. It's something I can get obsessed about and sort of get lost in my own world. I used to paint in a barn for 20 years, that was an unusual space, and it was not easy, but I thrived in it because of, I don't know, the energy in the place. It was a sense of freedom around it. What I've found as I've moved and created new studios is that I'm massively scared that I lose the magic. So this place I remodeled, I ripped the floors out and stuff because I needed to not be contained. Because my work isn't, if I feel contained, I struggle. So the space doesn't influence my work per se. What it gives me is permission to do the work that I want to do.
I can be creative in this space, but I don't think it's the characteristics of this space that's allowing me to be creative. It's more, I'll be inspired by if I watch something or if I see something on YouTube or wherever. I love working with other people. I love conceptualizing with other people. So I always find that being in a different space that puts me out of my comfort zone a little bit more, for me, actually ends up jogging my brain in a way that helps me to create in better ways. I have my friend Matthew's house.
Oh, 1 second. Let's stop that. Wait, it's Louis. I'll just answer him real quick. Yo.
Are you meeting that guy Henry?
I'm there all the time.
I think this space has been very influential on the music that I've made. I think being able to be at home in a place that's comfortable and be surrounded quite literally by so many instruments has been so beneficial to me. I never feel like I'm short at hand of anything that might be able to realise a creative idea. But yeah, it's quite a cluttered room. It's really just a collection of items from my childhood and from my family and stuff like that. So it kind of feels like a collage of memories in a weird way, which I'm sure has a subconscious effect on what I'm doing.
It's kind of funny how one ends up in a shed. I need large space to work on, so I need actual floor space. Every now and again, I can completely clear this floor and do my work. I like to draw with the marker on the end of a stick, so I tend to draw at a distance, so it's much freer for me, and I like the extension of line that way. I realised that the lines that I was working with from broken pieces were more interesting than the lines I thought I could paint. So it's like taking a painting, tearing it up and putting it back together in a totally different way. And it was quite exciting. And I could just go for a walk outside through the woods or through the forest. And that does help to calm my mind a bit and inspire me. Whereas inside here, the inspiration is more like in my sketchbooks, I've got like shelves of books over there of other artists' work, and then also all the material that I've gathered over the years. I'm like a magpie. Really difficult to throw it out, but I hand paint tiles that I've collected, and they become my palette, and I can just put them out on the table and select from that palette, just like you'd select from a paint box.
I need to feel like it is not possible to create something out of this mess. So having this headspace here and having this allows me to do that, because it just feels like there's a bigger protective layer around me in some ways. Space for me, which is the most important, is outside of when I'm staring and I'm looking and I'm absorbing of what is going to become my paintings in some way, because it's all about light, it's about making those memories and moments and images and things that viscerally impact me, that I call it absorption, that come into me, that will eventually come out in my paintings. So for me to paint, I need a space where I feel comfortable letting it out.
I think natural light is something that's really important to me. I'm very particular about the ambience of a space and how it feels to sit in a space and to work in a space. I think as creatives, the temptation is kind of to wait for creativity to hit. For me, I find it important to just show up every day.
I feel like a lot of my creating comes from pressure or like fear of not creating. I feel like a lot of what I do is based around I need to be doing something, or I need to do something that is benefiting my portfolio, or something that a potential client would like. It's a lot more based on external factors for me now than it used to be. It used to be very pure.
I was never trying to work in a certain way. I just wanted to express myself. So they were all completely selfish. My favourite work will be the painting that I haven't painted yet.
It's tricky to kind of work out what your favourite piece is, because usually it's one you haven't yet created.
Because that's what's going to drive me on.
I feel like a dream space for me would be like just like a completely blank concrete room with plants in it and just like a white backdrop.
Somewhere in the mountains in a forest with just a giant glass cube, and I'm just chilling with all the best instruments in the world.
I have a drawing of my ideal studio space right over there, and I keep it near me because I'm hoping that someday I'll get that. But I'd love it to be like 3 times the height of this with a mezzanine level, so I can go up the stairs at the mezzanine and look down over my drawing, and I can assess it in a very different way.
Both spaces where I paint, they work for me now because they allow me to get out of my head and into my heart and into my gut. It will allow me to be me. That's it. It's no more complex than that.